My name is Emily Sharp, as you can see from that right there. Tomorrow is Easter. Yay! Bunnies and eggs and happiness. And he is risen. Woo! Um, but since it's Easter, I thought I would go ahead and share my testimony um, on the internets for all to see. Yay! Okay, so I was saved as a little child when I was about 5 years old. Um, well, I was saved when I was 6, but I was ready when I was 5, and um, some complications arose, but I had a progressive salvation, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I've been in the church forever, and a lot of Christians think that that's really typical and kind of a lame testimony, but it's not really how you get saved, it's what you do with it. And as I was a Christian, I had the joy of experiencing Christ for all of my life, which is the best possible thing you can wish for, correct? Yeah, woo! Um, at every stage in my life, I had an atheist best friend or a best friend who wasn't a believer in Christ. And I was just blessed with that, and I had the opportunity to minister to someone who was very close to me, who got to experience my life with me, who saw me fail and who saw me get right back up and keep going. And that's really hard because you want to be perfect all the time for them, but you just can't. It's not a thing. Um, so, I ministered to each and every one of these women, and they ended up becoming Christians, which is wonderful, but it's nothing that I did. Obviously, it's God. But it was always when I wasn't there that they became a Christian. One of my friends, I actually had to move all the way to Houston from Oklahoma, and then she becomes one of the most on fire Christians I've ever met. And she's getting her degree at OBU right now, and she's just a fantastic woman of God. But God had to actually take me away from them so that I wouldn't be prideful and say, oh, I did this, whatever. But he still gives me the joy of knowing that they're Christians and I'll see them in heaven. So that's been wonderful. Outside of that, I've had some interesting experiences with Christ, being able to go on some mission trips and see, the other side of life, and those were very impacting for me. But what was the most impacting is these past few years in college, or past 2 years in college. I'm a sophomore in college now, about to be a junior. Yay! For all of you music majors out there, I'm currently working on my sophomore barrier, which is a bear, but I'll get through it, hopefully. And last year, I just had a really hard time. It was my first year away from my parents, which is usually when people go insane. And yes, I followed the stereotype, even though I hate doing that. Followed the stereotype, and I kind of went a little crazy. I fell into a lot of sin. I'll talk to you more about that in a later video, but basically what happened is at the beginning of this year, I just realized how much worse I was making my life. And it wasn't just, I'm in sin, blah, blah, blah. It was more of an I was unhappy with myself. And it wasn't I was unhappy with myself for falling away from God. It was just I was literally unhappy. And I just felt really dark and really stressed and really tired all of the time. And I could never rejuvenate myself. And, I was falling asleep in class every morning because hypoglycemic problems, can't stay awake. Yeah, anyway, so I was falling asleep in class every morning. I was just miserable, super stressed out. I couldn't do anything without thinking I wasn't good enough. And I just realized, what is this? Why am I not as confident as I was in high school? And through that, God really brought me back to him when he brought me so low that I could no longer say, I don't need you. I don't need you anymore, God. he brought me straight back to him. He said, okay, I'm going to bring you so low that you can't deny me. And he did. So anyway, out of that, I started getting back involved in churches around here. I wasn't ashamed anymore to be in a church, and I shouldn't have been in the first place, but it's not like I was doing anything that was crazy. It was just, I felt guilty and I felt ashamed because I wasn't close to God, and so the people that were close to God just made me feel like crap. They just made me feel so bad about myself. Anyway, so I got back in church, and it's just been such a pleasure and such a blessing, and I've never been this happy in my whole life. But, for those of you who are Christians and have been Christians your whole life, don't be scared to fail, because that's what brings you the closest to God. And, I've never experienced such pure, awesome, and raw joy as I did after coming out of a whole year of sin. And I'm not encouraging you to sin, not at all, not encouraging that. But if you have fallen and you have failed, when you come out of that, if you come out of that, I'm not going to assume anything, but if you come out of that, it is the most beautiful feeling. It is the most wonderful thing to just take control of your life and say, this is my life. This is not Satan's life. I will not live it for you. And outside of just being purely wonderfully happy and amazingly blessed and miracles happening and, just life being awesome, I've become more disciplined, and I've become more, regular with cleaning. Like, my room is clean. When does that happen? My parents would be shocked. I love doing the dishes because it makes my home clean. Everyone says cleanliness is close to godliness, or however they say it. I don't really know. But, it's kind of true. When you're at peace with yourself and when you're at peace with God, you keep the area around you clean, because it's close to the perfection of God. It just keeps your mind free, not cluttered. And I don't know why I'm talking about this, but it's something that I learned, and it's been really helping me out, especially with my roommates. We don't get in fights anymore about, hey, when did you do the dishes last? I did them last week. Blah 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 blah. Anyway, it's been really good. It's been very helpful to me and my roommates, and it's been uniting in a way. Anyway, so since coming back to God, I've been able to do so much more ministering to people, and I feel like I really can care about the people around me. And now that I have failed in some ways, now I can say, okay, I've done this. Don't do this. Because I've been there, done that, and I don't want you to go through the same thing I have. I'm sorry if I'm sounding really random, but this is where God's been has put my heart recently. He took me through 1 Corinthians, right when I first came back to him, getting back into my quiet time daily, and it was just a butt kicker. Like, it was insane. Like, it talked about sexual immorality. It just went through everything, that I had struggled with in the past year, and it was a butt kicker, but it got me back on track. And, being willing to humble myself and just go through it and let God kick me in the pants and say, it's time to go, was just one of the best things I've ever done to myself. It's like, locking yourself in a practice room for hours on end, if you're a person who does that, or sitting down and doing physics homework for 4 hours and finishing it. It was so great. It's like getting an A on a paper that you've written. But, I just thought I would share that with you on this Easter day, and hopefully I'll be able to do some more of these. But let me know if you have any questions. I'm on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter and Vine and everything, all the social things. So I love you very much, and hopefully I can meet you at some point if I don't already know you. So happy Easter. He is risen.